Hi everybody, welcome to the webinar where we're going to be talking about the 4 key strategies for engaging or really awesome events, particularly for students. I know it's a busy time of the year and you've probably got a few minutes to spend, but in about 12 minutes, 11 to 12 minutes, we're going to cover off on the key strategies. So a little bit of an intro as to who I am. My name is Natasha and I'm the managing director of a company called the Frank team. We've been around since about 2003, and we do a lot of training and engagement with universities, schools, graduate young professionals, and so forth. And we've trained about 60,000 people. So got a bit of experience in this space. And as a bit of a side note, as far as the name Frank, there's no such person called Frank in our team, but we are frank in the sense that there's no BS and we try to give it to you straight. So we've done a few of these events and we're just going to share with you particularly stuff that's worked and stuff that could be improved. So as far as today's agenda, we're going to be using as a case study one of our, the work we do with one of our clients who are based in Sydney. They're a university, and we'll be talking through the 4 key strategies using sort of the examples we've had with them. Just as a bit of a background, we've done sort of quite a few events with them, and with the university orientations we do with this university, we started with around 1,600 students, and in 2015 we're going to be going to sort of well over 4,000, so quite a bit of success in that space. So if you're putting, if you're thinking about putting any event together, whether it's an orientation, a school open day, career and employability workshops, training your student ambassadors, or really professional development or networking functions with industry, the events, the strategies we talk about is really applicable. So we're going to be chatting through it, and it's still very relevant. So let's get right into the first one. So the first sort of strategy for us was really being able to get strong buy-in from the leadership and the senior team, and really getting them excited about it from the get-go. So from our work with this university, the senior members were actually involved. They attended some of the orientations as well as some of the planning meetings, which was great. And because they were involved and excited about it, it really kind of made our delivery easier and also ensured that there was enough and ample resourcing to get the work done successfully. We, as far as Frank's team, worked with the staff to design the event structure from scratch, all the way to delivery of the session. So as a bit of a pro tip, yes, get your senior leadership involved, and really from the beginning if you can, start small and maybe on a pilot program, and always seek to have really clear mechanisms for measuring the engagement levels and the ROI that you're going to get. So with the orientation that I'm referring to, we had after the event itself a few people who had a couple of iPads, and we're just getting really quick feedback from the participants and wanted to see that the objectives of the university had been met through the program. So we got pretty good feedback that way, and we were able to tweak the program as needed for the next session from that feedback too. So that was a really good way to close the loop. So the second strategy that was that's really successful that we try to always implement for all our events, big and small, is to really be inspirational. So backtracking again to using the case study of our orientation at this university, there were a mixture, as far as the audience, there was a mixture of local and international students, undergrads, postgrads, and mature age students. So, we already know quite a bit about the Gen X's in the audience. But before I go on and talk about what we did with them, I wanted to quickly go over a bit of a survey that Deloitte did in 2015 to this year on the millennials and Gen Z. So millennials are your Gen Ys, and your Gen Zs are really those that are born after 1995. So the 2015 Deloitte study found that, and it surveyed over 7,800 millennials, found that when millennials are broadly looking at organizations or looking for leadership, there are 5 key things that they're always sort of looking or keeping an eye out for. And the 5 are really strategic thinking, being inspirational, strong interpersonal skills, vision, and passion and enthusiasm. Similarly, a U.S. ad agency called Sparks and Honey did a bit of a survey with Gen Zers. So those are those people who are born after 1995. And they found that 60% of those that they surveyed intended to, change the world for the better. They wanted to, as far as their work or some sort of what they did for a living, wanted to be able to contribute and make a difference. So you're probably asking, what does this have to do with our events? Well, frankly, everything. And the reason is because when you're planning to showcase your university through orientations, open days, school presentations, etc., you want to ensure that you build in these aspects into your event structure. A sense of passion, a sense of inspiration and vision, for instance. So let's say with this university orientation, something we did have as a practical application of this was we had a segment which asked the audience to define what success means to them. They were given a jumbo success bubble, like a cutout, where they wrote down their definition of success, shared it with others in the room, as well as uploaded it onto Instagram. So a little bit of networking as well. I think I might have a pic of what that looked like. There you go. There's me sort of strolling in the middle. And it was a really high energy, fulfilling segment, and everyone also got to voice out their own sense of purpose. Similarly, with regards to passion, we introduced the idea of passion using a TED video and enabled the participants to discuss what their passions were. We also, once again, left everybody on a really high note, very energetic, very engaging, very fulfilling, and it just adds a really great sense of purpose for an event. So, as a bit of a takeaway, look to your own events and look where you can build a sense of inspiration, a sense of passion and purpose into these events, and it sets a really great foundation for your event. So on to the third strategy, getting social. So when we're talking about social or integrating really social media into your events or even workshops, for this particular event, we use the three. We use Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as our sort of preferred networks. Instagram really is gaining quite a bit of popularity with millennials and Gen Zers as it provides a great visual element. We also, integrated Facebook activities which drove a large amount of traffic to the specific university pages. I think anecdotally they said that it was the largest one-day traffic they'd had from an event itself. So it can deliver a lot of great results, but also definitely came with a whole bunch of challenges. So from our experience, some of the challenges were that some of the mature age students or the older participants in the audience either did not have some of these accounts like Twitter or Instagram, or even if they did, were not too familiar with how to use it and upload information. Some also questioned the utility of having social media. And I guess our response to that is that if you're considering the world of work these days, you really do have to familiarize yourself with social media and how it works. You need to have some sort of awareness because it is very much a part of the world of work these days. Technically speaking, you also want to make sure there are enough resources to manage this. So for the big events, for the orientations, the university organized a separate AV team. This is a less of an issue for smaller events, and certainly for Frank's team, career workshops, for instance, we, the facilitator or the trainer, would manage the AV aspect of it. But you just want to make sure everyone is familiar. If it's a larger event, you might want to do a run-through and just make sure that you're technology-wise, you're good to go. With regards to social media also, you want to make sure you use the relevant networks and integrate it well into your program. So for instance, a takeaway for us was going forward, we'll probably not use Twitter as much, but we're going to be using Instagram and Facebook as our two preferred networks. With that, you want to make sure that the social media integration is seamless and it doesn't really seem like a chore for the people in attendance. Because it's a professional event and it's focused on professional readiness, we also gave an overview on LinkedIn because that's a very relevant social network for people who are going into the world of work. As a side note, if you're using social media in smaller events, a really easy activity to use is to get your participants to log on to Facebook, to like your page, your company page, or your company group, and answer a preloaded question. So this gets them involved. It uses a medium they understand, as well as driving traffic to your page. I guess the biggest bonus for us is, or for you really, would be that it allows you to have a conversation with your participants on your page well after the event. So that keeps that momentum going, and I think that's a big plus. So social media, definitely recommended, but there needs to be a bit of thought about how it's going to be used. And the final point really is on this idea of collaboration. So with the Frank team, we worked with this university, for instance. There was another organization which did a little bit of theater improvisation. So it was suggested that maybe we should combine some of these activities to add a sense of fun, play, and humor to the event. And we did, and it was really great. Though the theme was professional readiness and building familiarity of the, building familiarity around the university and its resources, having an ability to play and have a bit of fun really added to the success of the event. So there were role play scenes, there were puppet scenes, volunteers come and do some improv, and all of this was reinforced into the objectives of the session. So as far as a takeaway, you don't need to, specifically get a theater improv company. You can if you want to, of course, but you really want to think about how to creatively build a sense of play and fun into your event, because I think that's really what makes it a remarkable and memorable for particularly for the millennials and the Gen Zers in the audience. That's it from me for today. I really want to say thanks for joining us. I know it's a busy time of the year with all universities about to kick off. If there's any way we can support you, definitely give us a call, give us an email, send us an email. As a thank you for listening to us, listening to the webinar. I'm happy to give a 10% for everyone we hear from as far as a bit of a discount. If we can help you, give us a call, and our details are right here. And I'm also giving you my direct email, so natasha@franked.io. And if there's anything we can help with, look forward to hearing from you, and really wish you the best with all your events that's coming up. Thanks, guys. Until next time.